because you
What's
should have been the
Andy's
guest.
favorite cereal? What's Mr. Brown's favorite cereal? Try some
Baby,
weird shit.
what's your favorite cereal? He likes Fruity Pebbles.
Oh, okay. I thought he was gonna say like Raisin Bran or something.
You think I don't let old ass grapes into my cereal in this home? No, we don't do that. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Let's Get Cereal, the weekly show where I, your host, Alyssa Marino, eat cereal, talk about stuff, and sometimes talk to people. Today's people is a proud Queens native who's been blazing a path across the pro wrestling world, everywhere from NWA to MLW to championship wrestling, both Hollywood and Atlanta. It's my pal Slice Boogie. How are you?
I'm good. It's a long time coming. I was supposed to be on the show a long time ago. And it's finally happening.
It's finally happening. I'm so glad that we could make this work out, that your people talk to my people, AKA we discussed it together. So yeah. Now, Slice, you have a lot of really, I'd say very hot takes when it comes to different food and beverages. You're, a bit of a connoisseur, so I won't even get you started on pizza toppings and variations. But for such a discerning palate, what have you decided on for your cereal today? Is it an old reliable favorite or something new and exciting?
I was going to go with something new, but like the last 2 days I've been grouchy, so I don't want to come on the show grouchy and the cereal I choose sucks. So I went with what I think is the best cereal, number one in my books. Boom. You can't go wrong. Can't go wrong.
I actually have something that's a little bit, I was a little iffy on it, but I tried it. It's actually quite good. Frosted Mini Wheats, but strawberry.
Frosted Mini Wheats are very underrated. You can eat those. I've eaten those dry before as a snack.
I agree. It can get a little dicey, like Captain Crunch, though, where it's a little like it can rip up your mouth a little bit. So I'm going to do.
Nah, that's like Fruit Loops. Fruit Loops hurts, but those are fine. And then you feel healthy eating those, right? Like high fiber. You feel, all right, they're good.
Sure, aside from the frosting of strawberry on it, but other than that,
yeah, but how much fiber is in Fruity Pebbles? 0 grams.
0 grams of fiber, but think of all the delightful artificial colors you're ingesting. Come on, that's got to be some part of the diet, right?
Yeah. Red 40 got to be good for muscle.
Oh, I'm sure.
Boom.
Oh, but see here, and this Slice, this is actually a term that I took from you. Was what would you call this? I got this.
Shake.
The cereal
shake. That's shake at the bottom of the pound right there.
It's true, and I actually now cereals with the least amount of that, i.e. Golden Grams, that's something I look for. But I do want to give credit where credit is due.
I almost grabbed Golden Grams today. I wanted to know if the retro recipe tasted different. But
it's a little sweeter. There's a little bit more of like a honey kind of undertone to it. It's quite nice.
All right, so do you eat your cereal with a giant spoon or with a regular spoon?
I actually opt for just a regular teaspoon. I sometimes feel like if I do a tablespoon that it's kind of a thin slice that we're supposed to eat it together, but that's okay. You can just kind of rush it.
I didn't. It was just on my fork. I was trying to show my fork. Like, I like big spoons.
I do a normal teaspoon. I feel like sometimes it could be like overwhelming, and then I'm done my cereal quicker, and I don't want it to be that way. I want to savor. I want to enjoy.
I don't know. I go through 2 bowls at a time usually.
This is fair. Well, Slice, my friend, and to my friends at home, let's get cereal.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah, I gotta see me eat like a savage.
We're friends on the show. It's a safe space. Talk with your mouth full. It's totally fine. How are they? Are you enjoying your Fruity Pebbles?
Always the same pleasure, I'm not gonna taste something different. I feel like Fruity Pebbles have had the same flavor since I was 5 years old.
And if you look at that box, I think they just had like a 50th anniversary or something. There was like a
birthday.
That's a standard of cereals to be celebrating your 50th birthday.
I've been alive for 20 years, so
Exactly. Yes. Well. Speaking of which,
we'll lie about that. Yeah, I don't know. Let's get cereal. Yeah, I don't know how old I am. Let's say I'm 20.
There you go.
Thing. Yeah.
Boogie, you're only as old as you feel, and I sometimes feel like you might feel ancient.
I might be 68 then. I feel old as hell.
And you even alluded to it at the beginning of this. when we were chatting about the episode, you told me that you should have been considered as a guest for this show even sooner because you, and I quote, have been eating cereal since you were 4 years old. So other than, being a cereal eating fiend, what was Slice Boogie like as a little kid?
I was the most hyper kid ever. I would hang from if you have like a closet that just opens and there's like a lower and a top door and the top closet door is big, I would hang from it. I would break the closet doors. I couldn't sit still as a kid. I was always getting into trouble. I couldn't sit still. I was very smart though. My intelligence, I was like ahead of my time until I got to like college, and then I was like, maybe I'm not that smart. I didn't improve. I was a 9-year-old genius, and then a college like regular intelligent level. So.
But you were born and raised in New York. So do you feel like being raised in kind of a big city atmosphere led you to kind of grow up a little bit faster?
I wouldn't say that. There were a lot of kids that were like when I was 12, 13 that were like getting into real heavy trouble. And I didn't really start getting into trouble until I was like 16, 17. I wasn't sheltered at all, but I don't know. I guess everyone has a different experience. It depends who your friends are, what they're into. You could be 10 years old in North Dakota and your friends are smoking crack and you grow up faster there. You don't know. Well, my friends 12, 13, I was having wrestling matches, playing sports. I wasn't like, you know what I mean? Maybe 14, 15, the girls came into play, but I don't feel like I grew up super early. New York didn't have like a negative impact on me as a kid.
And I think it's definitely a point of pride for you that I feel like you carry, whether it's your gear or your persona in the ring, out of the ring. I think it is very much part of who you are.
People meet me in LA and they're like, wow, you still have a New York accent. I'm like, what, do you think I'm gonna lose it? Like, what are you talking about?
Like, that's
what am I gonna sound like? Yes, I haven't lived it. 20 years from now, I'm still gonna sound like this. So I don't. I guess people come to LA and they acclimate themselves to try to sound like, hey, well, hello there. And I'm like, nah, never gonna happen to me ever.
And you stay true to you, and that's, I think, very important. Now, speaking kind of like little bits of nostalgia, I want to take a little walk down memory lane. So, say for instance, you're sitting down, you're eating a big old bowl of cereal on a Saturday morning. What are you watching on TV?
Watching wrestling, watching X-Men. Those are the two most important things in my childhood. Wrestling and X-Men, the animated series. Everything else didn't matter. For a little while, I remember they had this show. It was like a karate show where it was like scripted karate show, but it was almost like a real life Mortal Kombat where there was like different characters and they would fight each other, but it wasn't like bloody. But I forgot what it was called. It was like
Classics, something classics. Master something, right?
But it was like almost like a fighting video game, and like they would beat each other in like different levels, like a Subway. I would watch that some Saturday mornings. I don't think it lasted very long.
That almost sounds like Street Fighter, like a fighting game come to life. That's pretty cool.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
We'll come on after wrestling. Also American Gladiators.
Classic. Did you have a favorite X-Men or someone whose powers you would have wanted to have?
I always loved Wolverine, but I feel like everyone loved Wolverine. But on that show, he was just a man. Like, he was the most gangster. And he was like, that show was very, stayed true to the comics. He was like 5'3", grouchy. In the comics, because my brother would collect comics, so I grew up like reading the comics. And then, the X-Men movie comes out. Hugh Jackman is 6'3", with an accent like, I don't know. I feel like that cartoon is like the greatest X-Men we've ever had. The movies were cool, bro.
Well, Boogie, I didn't know you were such an X-Men purist, and that's very interesting to know. But
I think you were about to call me a comic book nerd. Is that what you were about to say?
No, a purist, someone that wants to stay true to the original source material. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I would never call you a nerd. That's rude.
Okay, cool.
Now, getting a little bit back to wrestling, you said wrestling was obviously something you were watching on Saturday mornings, but was wrestling something that stayed an interest for you, like throughout, from childhood to now, or is this something you fell off from, or?
Hell no, like when I was like 16. All right, so the better I got in basketball, the more I played basketball, the less I watch wrestling and the more I was watching basketball in my free time. And like wrestling, I just felt like it got a little corny. Like when I was 16, 17, I don't know what year was that. I don't know, 2003-ish, 2004-ish.
We're letting go that you're 20.
Yeah, well, you know.
Oh, you know.
I was watching this. Don't do the math. But it just got corny after a while. Like, you know, I would tune into the WrestleManias to see Undertaker or Shawn or Flair. You know, I would see the best matches, but I wasn't keeping up. I wasn't checking Raw. I didn't know what was going on. I was like very much a super casual, coming from someone who was the hardcore wrestling fan at the date, like, you know. And it wasn't until like Wrestle Kingdom, like Okada fought Kenny, that I like really got back into wrestling. And then the Royal Rumble that AJ Styles came back, I think 2016. My friend made me watch that, and like it caught my interest again. So I fell off. I'd say I fell off wrestling for 15, 16 years.
Wow.
And so I missed out on a lot, you know.
And then how did the shift happen for you from being a fan to then, you know, moving across the country and enrolling at Santino Brothers and actually pursuing wrestling as a career?
So I didn't move to LA to become a wrestler. I was already living in LA 3-4 years before I even went to Santino's. And I just went. Santino's always has a one-day tryout, one-day class, and I just went, you know, for fun. I went for, like, you know, I always say for giggles, but that's really what it was about. Like, oh, let's see how this feels. And, you know, I was in good shape. I still had, you know, I've been working out my whole life, not for wrestling, but just in general. So it wasn't that grueling to me, you know. And I feel like I stood out. I feel like they saw I stood out, and I had an idea of what I was doing. So it was just, you know, it was meant to be. Because I don't think I would have went to a one-day tryout in New York, I'll tell you that much.
Well, speaking of, as someone else who's made the East Coast to West Coast move, there's definitely, as you kind of alluded to, a lot of differences and different vibes from coast to coast. So what were some of the biggest adjustments that you made after relocating to LA?
Honestly, letting my guard down. You know, let my guard down a little bit. Because there were times where I was a little too, like my guard was up too much, a little too on the deep defensive, and it cost me, you know, it cost me some career opportunities. Maybe a couple girls were like, oh, he's too, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, what's wrong with that guy? Like, he's not really trying to open up. Things like that, you know, just from a conversation aspect of things, you know. I started to become a little more friendly. I wasn't as like, because in New York, I'm not friendly at all. Like, I'm not, unless I've been knowing you for years, I don't even want to talk to you, to be honest. Obviously with women it's different, but like, even then, like I'm New York is like, you don't give anyone their opening, you know? Yeah, you don't let them in. Whereas in Cali, you know, even though there's a lot of phony people, it's like, I don't know.
Pretty harmless.
Maybe I got older. Yeah, maybe I just got older. You know, I'm not really quite the extrovert. I'm like, I'll wait until people talk to me first, and then I'll open up. That's how I've always been.
That's a development, I think, that happens over time. And speaking of things that have happened over time, your journey, your career within wrestling has really kind of blossomed. I mean, currently in the United Wrestling Network, you are 1/3 of the United World Tag Team Champions, part of a team known as the Bodega, where you can get anything you want, including a beatdown. So say you're taking a trip to your local bodega, and you can only walk out with 5 items. What are they?
Is this any bodega that I've ever lived near?
Any bodega you live near. Is there a certain one in particular?
Well, I lived in Spanish Harlem for like 7 years, and I don't know if you ever heard of the chopped cheese sandwich. It's like a Philly cheesesteak, but like they chop it up with the cheese. And so I lived across the street of where it originated from. It's like a famous New York, well, the chopped cheese is actually a burger chopped with the cheese, but then they also make a Philly cheesesteak. But like the chopped cheese was invented right on 110th and 1st, Haji's Deli, Bodega, whatever you want to call it. So I lived there for 7 years, and people from all over the city come there just for that, you know? Wow. Very famous deli. So I would grab a chopped cheese off the bat. I would grab a Philly cheesesteak off the bat. 2 sandwiches. I'm hungry.
Why not?
What drink am I grabbing? I gotta go with the peach Snapple iced tea.
Oh, okay.
I'm getting cheese doodles because I can't get cheese doodles out here. They only have what do they even call it? Cheetos. They don't have cheese doodles in LA.
Not the same.
I'm getting crunchy cheese doodles in New York.
Okay.
And
a dessert?
Am I getting a dessert or am I getting chips? I might go with a dessert. What's my favorite dessert? I'm getting chocolate chip cookie ice cream bar. Boom. Toll House. Like the yellow one. Yeah, I'm gonna get that.
Wow, that's.
Because you know why? Because I can't think of all the cakes. They be having so many cakes, like Twinkies and all that, but I can't think of. I gotta see them. You know, I like the orange Hostess cupcakes, but you know.
Oh, okay. I usually would go toward a honey bun right away.
A honey bun is good, but a honey bun. I've eaten too many honey buns in my life.
Speaking of being hungry, in a little bit of a different way, you posted on Twitter that you can be grateful and you can be hungry at the same time. So what are some of the things at this time right now in your life that you're appreciative of, and what do you want to do next?
I'm grateful for where I am in wrestling at the moment, because I've ascended pretty quickly, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It hasn't taken, and then this is with COVID. Without COVID, who knows where I would have been. Maybe I would have been in a better position, who knows? Maybe a worse position. But I'm grateful that I get opportunities to showcase my talent, but also I want more, you know? I want more indie bookings. I want more TV time. I want longer matches. I'm not just gonna settle for what I have now, you know, because I feel like I haven't showed like NWA. I'm grateful to be there, but I don't feel like I've had a long match there. Longest match I might have had there is like 8 minutes or something like that. Mm-hmm. So like I feel like if they gave me a long match under certain circumstances, I could kill it. MLW, I've only been there once, you know. Like our next show is not until I think October. So I'm grateful where I am, but like I gotta keep showing people that I'm that guy in wrestling. Like I'm better than they thought they were, than I think I am. Or maybe people who don't know who I am, they're gonna be like, who the hell is this? And I'm only gonna be able to do that by having more matches, better matches, longer matches. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I'm not settling because I'm not where I want to be. Like, I want to buy a house of wrestling. I don't just want to, buy groceries of wrestling.
You don't want to just buy cereal with wrestling. I get
that. Yeah. Like my Fruity Pebbles. See, I didn't think this through because the Fruity Pebbles are chalked. Fruity Pebbles are like, if you don't kill them in 2 minutes, you got to mush. Frosted Mini Wheats are different. They could be a little mushy, but they maintain some integrity. Now I just got mush.
I apologize that our chat has led you to sacrifice your Fruity Pebbles. So I'm not going to keep you any longer so that you can pour a fresh bowl and you can enjoy your Fruity Pebbles. But I do want to just wish you, obviously, continued success in everything you're doing. We'll definitely be seeing you at MLW. We'll be seeing you at Championship Wrestling presented by CarShield, which is going to be starting on September 18th. And any other things coming up that you want people to keep their eyes out for you?
I can't think. I don't know if I have anything else that's on the horizon right now.
Well, I know that it's only a matter of time. More and more coming your way. We'll be putting your social media down below so everyone can follow along on your journey. And I just want to thank you for making the time and for, sadly, losing a good bowl of Fruity Pebbles to our conversation. But I'm glad you got a full box that you can try again with.
Yeah, it won't last very long.
No, I'm sure it won't. Well, Boogie, thank you so much for chatting, and I'm sure we'll be seeing you again very soon. And
thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh, of course, my pleasure. I'm glad we finally worked this out. I want to thank you again for taking the time, and to my friends at home, continue to do your best to be your best, and we will see you later.
Holla.